Welcome to Table for One. I'm the narrator, and today's video is my mid-year channel update for July 2025. Let's get rolling. Alright, so welcome to another channel update video. I have got a lot to talk about today, and I don't want it to be a long video, so I'm going to try and go quick. I'll do my very best. There won't necessarily be a lot of visuals. I might have some. Otherwise, I'll probably put some static images on the screen. But most importantly, at the very beginning, I just want to remind you I have chapter markers. So if I start talking about a topic that you're not especially interested in, you could just skip right past it, go to the next one. That's just fine. So first, I'd want to say just thanks for being here. Thanks for watching this video. That means you're part of the Table for One crew. The channel is growing. We hit 1,000 subscribers just at the end of 2024, and now halfway through 25, we are just on the precipice of 2,000. So it's growing quickly, and that is super exciting. So if you're new in the last 6 months, welcome. And if you've been here for a while, I really appreciate it, and look forward to having you here for a while longer. And while I'm excited that the subscriber count is going up, this has always been a quest to have quality over quantity. I mean that not necessarily in terms of the videos I put out or the number of videos I put out, but I'm talking about you. I'm talking about the people that watch this channel and interact with it. You know, I'm not the biggest board game channel out there, and I'm not looking to be, but I think I've got the best and most engaged viewers of any board game channel out there. I love that I know a lot of you, either not necessarily by name, but at least by YouTube handle. We have a lot of great conversations in the comments. I really appreciate that people interact down there. It's really cool. Makes me feel good. I hope you're getting something out of it too. But I love having a place to talk about games and recommendations and strategies and all that stuff. I think this is just great. So I really appreciate all the participation that I get from all of you. And then there's a few people who, over the last 6 months since my last channel update, have taken it to the next level. So I want to specifically call out all the folks who left a donation on my Ko-fi page. As you're probably sick of me hearing it, but KO-FI. There's a link in the description. I'm going to talk more about it in a minute. But I'll just use the names that you used when you threw me a couple bucks over on Ko-fi. So first, I got Jose Lizzo. Thank you so much. Jose asked, could you do a top 10 or maybe games by age to play with your kids? Mine is turning 3, and I don't know which games. And so I don't really do lists on this channel. I don't have any top 10 lists or anything like that. That's a whole other topic. That's a great way to get a lot of views. That's why there's a lot of those out there, but it's just not my ambition because, again, I don't think they're necessarily quality views. A lot of people click it, but those aren't the sorts of people who stay and subscribe and talk in the comments and really interact. And those are the sorts of folks that I'm looking for. But anyway, Jose, I've got some recommendations for you in today's video. So there's going to be a chapter on kids games, and for those of you who are not interested in that, you can skip right past it. Won't hurt my feelings, but I've got a couple good ones. I didn't when you left me that message. We talked a little bit back and forth, and I hadn't had any luck. But over the last month or so, I've had some luck. So I'm excited to share some things with you. Next up, I had Julian the Lecturer. Thank you, Julian. Much appreciated. Julian said, "Thank you for not making me scared of playing Voidfall. One day I'll get close to beating it." And that was back in January. So I surely hope you have beaten it at some point over the last 6 months. But if not, let me know and maybe I can help you out. Or at the very least, I can do a solo playthrough. As always, I take Voidfall requests if you've got one. Next, I want to thank Ike. I hope I pronounced that correctly. E-I-K-E. Ike, thank you. Ike said, thanks for your actual plays on YouTube. And to that, I say you're welcome. Happy to play some games. Neil Sheeran says, thanks for all the great Voidfall videos, and with Anachrony being on my wish list for a long time, your new series pushed me to the buy button. So, earlier this year, of course, I did a series on Anachrony where I went through every module. I called it a season of Anachrony. I'll talk more about my sort of series like that in a minute, but went through all the Anachrony modules with rules videos accompanied by solo playthroughs to kind of show those modules. So I'm not looking to specifically sell games to anyone. I'm trying to help people learn games, enjoy the games they have, maybe make decisions on whether or not they want to buy a particular game. But I'm not here to push cardboard. Like, I don't get anything if you buy a game. Doesn't matter to me. I'm not trying to push FOMO or anything like that. But in any case, Neil purchased an acrony, and hopefully, Neil, you're liking it. And then he also said, it just arrived today, along with some very nice Voidfall tech and agenda trays I heard about from somewhere. So double thank you to Neil, because he purchased as he said, tech and agenda trays for Voidfall from the Etsy store I co-own with my friends, Brain Bucket Games, where we've got a variety of board game quality components for sale. So glad you are happy with those, Neil. Next, Kumagoro, a frequent commenter on the channel, head over to the coffee page and left me a few dollars. So thank you, Kumagoro. That was really nice of you. And he said, a little bribe / contribution to push you into Legacy of You and Final Girl content. So I'm not above taking bribes. That's fine. I do not have either of those games as of today, though. But I'm always open to suggestions or game recommendations. And I'll talk a bit about publishers, maybe a little bit later. That's another segment. Next, we've got Q. They just left Q, which is fine. But Q said, here's to phase 4 of Voidfall. I feel like 3 cycles is enough. But at the same time, I always feel like, if I just had one more turn. So I know where you're coming from, Q. I feel it. So thank you, Q. And finally, John G. This one was recent. John said, found your Endeavor videos very well made and exactly what I was looking for. So thank you, John. If you're watching, I'd be curious. Maybe you want to leave a comment or something. If you went in on the Endeavor Deep Sea expansion that just recently wrapped up on Kickstarter, I'll talk more about that later in this video. But good news for you, I've got a new Endeavor Deep Sea solo playthrough coming out a week from today. So that'll be mission 6. And I really, really like that mission. That was a good one. So I hope you enjoy that. So again, big thank you to everyone who's ever made a coffee contribution to this channel. It really is a big deal. I know it's maybe not necessarily a lot of dollars, but I'll tell you this, it's more than I've made from YouTube advertisements over the 6 months. I make more from the coffee page than from the YouTube ads. And in fact, as of time of recording, I am anticipating my first payment, because you need a minimum quantity just to even get a payout. So technically I've made nothing from YouTube ads yet, but we're getting close. And I only bring that up to remind you once again that I do have ads either before or after the video, but never any mid-roll ads. I don't put any ads in the middle of the video, and that's a choice that I'm making. I could probably make more money if I did that, but I don't want to interrupt the videos, and I want you to have an enjoyable experience. So I can kind of stomach, like, okay, there's a 5-second ad, or maybe 2 of them at the beginning, and you can hit the skip button or whatever, but I don't want to interrupt once it gets started. So I hope that you've noticed that. And then I try not to be super annoying, so I wait usually until the very end, the outro of the video, to ask for all the, hey, subscribe, leave a like, go to my coffee page, all that sort of stuff. I would be better off putting it at the beginning, but I don't want to put people off. So I am trying to be a viewer first sort of channel, and I hope it comes across. So let's talk about something else before we get too far away from coffee, from ko-fi, my coffee page, which is, again, it's like Patreon, but my goal is not to have anything locked behind a paywall. I want everything to be available to everyone at the same time, no matter what. I don't really love the idea of like paying for early access or paying for extra content, because I realize not everyone can do that. And so I don't want to withhold anything. So it's like a completely voluntary thing. It's more like a tip jar. Like if you head over to the coffee page, you can leave me a couple bucks. It helps keep the channel running. It's really helpful. It's really appreciated. But if you can't do that, I don't want to punish you. So that's the philosophy that I'm running with. But I do have a fundraising challenge for the group here. So let me explain real quick. I've done a couple comparison type videos on this channel previously. I've done a comparison of like base game Spirit Island versus Horizons of Spirit Island. I've done one with the Voidfall Galactic box or the deluxe edition versus the retail edition. And I think that's sort of a more unique type of video that not everyone out there is doing. Again, I'm avoiding things like lists, but I'm trying to figure out what can I contribute to this community that maybe isn't being met. And I think these comparison videos are helpful because they're not reviews, and they're games that I'm buying with my own money. They're not provided. So I just want to give honest not even opinions, but like, hey, here's the stuff in the box. Let me show you the differences. Let me talk about it a little bit to try and help people make decisions on, do I want either of these? And if so, which one might be better for me? So I think it provides value. And a game that I think could really use it is Dune Imperium, because there's Dune Imperium and then there's Dune Imperium Uprising, which is like an expansion slash sequel. They're kind of the same game, but kind of not. And then there's different expansions. There's Rise of Ix and Immortality and Bloodlines, and some of them are sort of compatible with each version of Imperium, but you have to take some things out or do different. It's complicated. And I think comparison video and maybe rules refreshers going over all of those expansions would be useful. I think that could provide some value. But I don't have any of those games, and I don't know if that's something the community wants or not. So I've got a fundraising goal for the month of July 2025. If I can raise $200 on the coffee page, then I will use that money to go buy all of those things I just said for Dune. So Dune Imperium, and then Rise of Ix and Bloodlines, and then Dune Imperium Uprising, and I said those in a weird order, and then Immortality. Regardless, I will get those 5 boxes, and then I will, over the next couple months, I'll do unboxing videos and rules refreshers and solo playthroughs and comparison videos and go over that whole thing. And then once I've filmed everything I need to film, I will do a giveaway contest, and I will give away Dune Imperium plus Rise of Ix and Immortality. I'll do that as a bundle. I'll give those 3 things away. I'll hold on to the rest so that I can do more solo playthroughs in the future. But I think that's a solid plan. That's something I'd like to try. So if you want to head over to my coffee page, KO-FI, if I can get $200 by the end of July 2025, then I will execute that plan and I'll do the giveaway. And don't forget, when you head over to coffee, when you make that contribution, whatever name you put in there, I'll give you a shout out in my next channel update video. And these come out twice a year, so every January and July. So that'll come out January 2026. I'll be sure to call you out. So that's my plan with giveaways and Dune and coffee. And feel free to let me know what you think of that in the comments. Let's move on to the next topic. Very briefly, I will be at GenCon 2025. I went in 2024. That was the first time I went. That was super cool. So looking forward to going again this year. I'm only going to be there one day, or I'll be there on Saturday. I will likely be the only person there wearing a table for one shirt. So if you happen to see me, make sure you stop and say hi. And I'm likely to pick up a couple of games while I'm there, so I'm sure I'll do some unboxings when I get back. But I'm not looking for anything specifically that I know of right now. But if you're going to Gen Con, or if there's games that are going to be there that you're curious about, or that you recommend, anything you want to say about Gen Con, let me know in the comments. Let's talk about it. Maybe I'll see you there. And speaking of comments, I just want to call out real quick, this is a very active community on this channel, and it's pretty awesome. My intent is to respond to every comment. So usually a response is like a reply, but sometimes, if we've been conversing for a bit, it could just be a thumbs up or a heart or something, but I want to acknowledge every comment that I get. If I haven't, it is not on purpose, and I apologize. It seems like some of these comments I just don't get notified. They just disappear, and I kind of go through every once in a while and try and go back and look through all my comments and all the old stuff and see if there's anything that got missed. And so I know some people, I've left them replies like a year later, like, hey, I didn't see this, sorry. But I will say that the chances of me getting a notification are higher if you @ me. So if you do @table for one, there's a better chance that I will see it. But if I don't respond or don't acknowledge your comment, it is not on purpose. It got missed somehow, and I'm sorry. But I do want to be interactive with everybody as much as possible. And I don't know at what level I'll have to start dialing that down. If the subscriber base and the comments start getting to be too much, I might not be able to keep up. But for as long as I can, that is my intent. So I just wanted to let you know that. And next up, this is a bit of board gaming news. So within the last month or two, there have been a couple of hacks on board gaming YouTube channels. So Jamie Stegmeyer of Stonemaier Games had his channel hacked, and then Shay over at RTFM, his channel got hacked too. I don't expect that I'm going to get hacked, But just based off of what both of those guys have said, I want to let you know that if my channel suddenly starts posting like a bunch of AI stuff or pushing cryptocurrency or anything wacky like that, that is not me. That is an indication I have been hacked. And if that happens, I'll be working with YouTube and Google to try and restore the channel. So please, should that happen, please don't unsubscribe, because that would just hurt me. I'll get things back as quickly as possible and then be back up and running again. Because that's what happened to both those guys. I think started live streaming crypto advice or something, and I'm just like they would not do that to you, I am not going to do that to you either. So if you see that, know that it's not me and I'm working on it. Not that I anticipate being hacked, but I guess I should just say ahead of time, I'm never going to do something like that. So that's how you know it's not me on the channel. And I felt really bad for both Jamie and Shay. That sucks. So I'm glad they're back up and running. Next, let's talk about just my sort of release format and scheduling. So a couple times throughout, earlier this year, maybe 3-4 times, I did some posts. Some of those were just polls. Some of those were schedules of, hey, this is what I'm releasing this month. Just curious on what you think on that. Are those helpful? Should I do that? Or is that just noise in your feed? Similarly, 2 days ago, so just earlier this week, I released my first short. And it was just the time-lapse bit of my Earthborn Rangers unboxing, which the full video was released today. So it's kind of like a 1-minute preview of just that time-lapse bit, because I kind of like that part. But I'm wondering if I've got an unboxing coming up, is a short a couple days early, is that a fun thing? Do you like that? I'm thinking it might be useful to getting more people to come check out the channel, but is that going to be noise in your feed, or are you kind of okay with that? Be curious about that. And then finally, just more broadly, what do you think of the release schedule as it is? So every Friday at noon local time, I release like a main video. It's a solo playthrough generally. Not today. Today it's a channel update, but usually solo playthrough. And then if I've got other content, I release it like 1 minute early, 2 minutes early. I stagger them by a minute. So, for example, when I did that Anachrony series, like I would do a solo playthrough at noon and the rules refresher at 11:59. So they would more or less come out at the same time. So does that work for everybody, or would you prefer things just get released at random? 'Cause some channels certainly do that, or staggered through the week. Like, would you want unboxings on Mondays and rules refreshers on Wednesdays and playthroughs on Fridays, or is that just crazy? I think it's easier to just do it kind of more or less all at once within a few minutes of each other. Just every Friday at noon, everything gets released, and it's been real consistent. I've done a minimum, I think, of 2 videos per week for like close to a year. So, I am putting out a ton of content, and I don't know if I'll always be able to keep up with that, but just curious on your thoughts on the release schedule as well and how that's working for you. But that's maybe a decent segue into, I have got a big project coming up in the back half of this year, and it may cause me to step away a little bit from the channel. So I may have to, for a period, ditch the once a week release, because, if you take the total number of videos I release each week and you add up their runtime, I'm releasing essentially like a feature-length film's worth of video every week, and that is a lot of shooting and a lot of editing. It takes a ton of time, and I am going to need some time for a different project, which I will tease is board game related, and can't wait to tell you more about it. But if, I may have to switch to like an every other week or somewhat sporadic schedule for a period over the next 6 months, and I'm just letting you know that in advance. But stay tuned, it will be very exciting. Also, I mentioned, so I've got today, I released a unboxing video for Earthborn Rangers, and I also released an interview with Andrew Fisher from Earthborn Games. I really recommend you go check out that interview because he's got a lot of interesting things to say. So we talk about the game, Earthborn Rangers itself. We talk about Earthborn Games' new game that's coming out, Hub World Eidolon. And we talk about game production and sustainability. And we had that discussion in January of 2025. And I waited to release it until I could release it with the unboxing video. So it's kind of interesting to go back and listen to that interview where we talk about board game manufacturing and logistics and supply chain a couple months before all the tariff stuff earlier this year hit. So it's an interesting retrospective, but it's actually the second interview I've done. I also did an interview close to a year ago with North Star Games, and that one didn't get a ton of views. So I don't know if that's something people are interested in or not. Maybe I should just not do interviews, but I would I would ask you to go check those out. Check out the one from today, the Earthborn Games interview with Andrew, and then if you like it, go find that North Star interview from last year as well. Maybe leave some comments and let me know on those videos, either if you think, hey, this is great, do more, or like, hey, we're not into this, don't bother trying to interview people, because ultimately I'm trying to make content that people want to see, right? So if you guys don't want to see it, then I'm not going to spend the time doing it, and that's fine. Next, I'll do a quick shout out for my Brain Bucket Games, again, Etsy store that I co-own with some friends. My job at that store is to play games and come up with ideas and test pieces. I don't do any of the hard work, but we've got a few new things out that I thought I'd call out. So we've made a bunch of new pieces for Anachrony. We made flux tokens and energy cores, and there's blanks as well that have the identical feel, so you can play the solo game with a drawbag system and use nice components. The flux cores in particular are translucent, so that's pretty cool. We've also got paradox tokens. We've got scoring dials. We just released blank dive tokens for Endeavor Deep Sea with a drawbag system, so that works the same way as my bounty and reclaim tokens from Voidfall, just to make it easier to set up. And the dive tokens are pretty slick because they kind of nest into each other and stack up. So maybe go check those out if that's something you're interested in. Since my last channel update video, we also released pieces for Foundations of Metropolis. And then don't forget, we've got Sky Team pieces as well. Right now we're working on some Nemesis pieces and Spirit Island pieces, and we've done some work on a couple other games. But if there are games out there that you think could use some component upgrades, especially if they're something that provides some sort of functionality, not just, I don't want cardboard, I want plastic, because that's not really our aim, but something that somehow makes setup easier or storage better or the gameplay experience somehow better. That's the stuff we're trying to target. So if you've got ideas, let me know in the comments. Always looking for suggestions. So next, let's talk about game series. So I mentioned earlier, I did a series on Anachrony earlier this year where it was like 4 months. Every other week I would do Anachrony. So it was a little bit less variety in the type of videos I was putting out, but every other week when it was Anachrony week, I would do a rules refresher video that went over some component or module of Anachrony, and I would pair that with a solo playthrough where I then play that module. So you can kind of see the two paired together. And I think people like that. So I'm about to start my next series. It's Nemesis. So I'll be going through all the different Nemesis expansions and promotional card decks and all those sorts of things every other week, starting in 2 weeks. And that'll run roughly through the end of October. So right around Halloween, it should be wrapping up. And again, I'll release those every other week. So then in the off weeks, I'll have my regular sort of game content where I might be playing games that are new to the channel. I might be playing channel favorites like Voidfall or Spirit Island. And that stuff will be interspersed with Nemesis every other week. I've also got a mini series coming up just for the month of August. There's 5 Fridays in that month. And I'm going to do a mini series on A Nice Cuppa, which is one of the Button Shy wallet games that I just really like. So for the first 4 weeks in August, this will not be the only content I release. This is just on top of everything else I release in August. A little mini series where every Friday, the first 4 Fridays, I'll do a video where I teach you how to play one of the expansions for A Nice Cuppa and then do a solo playthrough immediately after. And then that 5th Friday, I will combine all 4 expansions, play them all together, do a video like that. I just think that's kind of fun. But my question to you, the audience, is what do you think of that series format where I do a series on something and I do it every other week for a while until it's done? Because I think the other way to do it would just be do it for half as long, but do it every week. But, if somebody's not interested in whatever game I'm covering, that could leave them for like a month or 2 with no new content. And that's not super fun. So that's why I stagger it every other week like that. And I'm just curious what you think of that. And if you didn't know, some other series that I've done besides Anachrony are obviously, it's not really a series. I've done a ton of Voidfall content, and that will continue. I'll make more of a series out of it after the expansion comes out. I'll cover that more like a series, I think. But I did an Under Falling Skies series, there were no rules refreshers. It was just playing through the campaign every other week. So I did Under Falling Skies. I also played through the Mass Effect Priority Haggles campaign. And I did a couple series on some narrator-made components for Terraforming Mars and Spirit Island. So for Terraforming Mars, I made 2 sets of corporations that were based off of sci-fi franchises that I like. So I think it was 15 total corporations. I did a series on that, and I did a series on Spirit Island. I made 5 spirits, and I kind of did an explainer video on each of those and then played with it. So those are some of the series that I've done in the past, and I'm anticipating in the future doing a series on Tricarion. As I said, the Voidfall expansion, whenever that comes out, I intend to do a series there. I want to do there's a like little mini campaign in the back of the rulebook for both Sky Mines and Cloud Age. I would like to kind of play those as a series at some point. I might be persuaded to do something similar with Rise of Fenris from Scythe, or with Sleeping Gods to play that campaign as a series. So I'd be curious to know what you think of that, or if there are other series you would like me to do. And then, of course, if we hit that fundraising goal, I'll do the Dune Imperium series as well. So what do you think about that format? Does anything jump out at you? Is there anything you would like me to cover that I haven't mentioned? But next, let's talk about some games on order. So here's a list of games that I have ordered but have not received yet. Filming this, what is today? Tuesday, June 24th. So I have personally backed on Kickstarter Casinopolis from Button Shy Games. That is one where I did a solo playthrough and tutorial based on a preview copy. So Button Shy Games sent me a copy of the game. I think my video was on their Kickstarter page. But when I do those preview videos or, sponsored videos, I turn down a lot of sponsorships. I don't know if everybody knows that. So I only accept those when it's something that I think I'll actually like. Because again, I'm not looking to push games on anyone or get you to buy games. I am just trying to play games and have fun and create some discussions. So I do turn publishers away semi-regularly when they're like, "Hey, we want to send you this. You can feature on your channel." I'm like, I don't think this is for me, or I don't think it's a good fit for the channel. But anyway, so Button Shy sent me Casinopolis. I really liked it. So then I personally backed it on Kickstarter, and I should be receiving that soon. I'm also waiting on Booba Kiki, which I've mentioned before. It's a party type game. I should have had it by now, but it got super delayed by all the tariff stuff, so I'm not sure when that's coming in. I ordered A Place for All My Books. That one will be on the channel once I receive it. That was like a super quick campaign that I think was much more successful than the studio or than the publisher was expecting. But it was really nice wooden deluxe components, a cozy type game about books, which is the only other thing that I actually have a collection of besides games. I've got a huge library in my office. So really excited for that game. It's got a solo mode, so that'll be here on the channel. I'm also waiting on Vestige from Orange Nebula. So that was the first game that I ever heard of by Orange Nebula. I kind of stumbled onto it. Thought it looked super cool. I ordered it. I've not received it yet, but then as I was waiting for it, I started digging and I stumbled upon another one of their games, which is, of course, Unsettled. So I've released a ton of Unsettled unboxings and a couple playthroughs at this point. So that publisher's got a new game coming out called Vestige. I've got it on order, looking forward to it. Also, Six Sojourns by Red Raven Games, so makers of Sleeping Gods, among other things. But this is an area control game, and it looks really cool. Love the artwork, which is typical for Red Raven. They've got great artwork, but I think it looks awesome. It really grabbed my attention. So Six Sojourns is on order. That should be maybe sometime around the end of the year. I've got a trifecta here of Mind Clash games coming in. So I've got Perseverance episodes 1 through 4 plus Chronicles mode. That should be maybe late summer, early fall. I'll definitely do not like a series, but I'll definitely on this channel play through each episode, because you can kind of so episodes 1 through 4, each one is a standalone game. You can just play it. Take any one of them off the shelf, play it, and it's going to be a big, heavy Mind Clash game. But you can play episode 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 in order, and it'll tell this story arc. So super excited for that. I think the folks over at Mind Clash consider it like their crown jewel or their magnum opus. This is their big showcase game. I don't think it's available in retail at all, because it was kind of like a big giant thing to produce. So looking forward to that sometime later this year. I also backed Revenant, which is not news. That should be maybe in January of 26 arriving. So this is a worker placement game. I think it's semi-co-op, and it takes place in the Voidfall universe. So anything Voidfall is immediately awesome, so I backed that. And then I also, as I kind of alluded to earlier, I backed the Tricarian Anniversary Edition, and I will do a series of videos once that arrives. So I'll teach you how to play with each of the expansions, and then I'll do a solo playthrough with that expansion to kind of show you how it all works. On the other end of the complexity scale, I ordered a game called High Tide. I'm speaking faster than my mouth can move. High Tide. And it's just a 2-player tile placement game. It's kind of abstract, but it's got a really simple rule set. So it's one that I think I can easily get people who are maybe not like hobbyists to the level that some of us are, easily get to the table. I can get like extended family to play this. So super low complexity rule set. But it looks like some really interesting decision making. So High Tide is on order. And then I also ordered Endeavor Deep Sea Uncharted Waters. This Kickstarter, I believe, recently wrapped up by the time this video comes out, but it's an expansion to Endeavor Deep Sea. And frankly, it's my favorite type of expansion. It's not adding any modules. It's just mostly more of the same stuff. So more journal cards, more dive tokens, more ocean zones. Some of them are going to be mini expansions, like in the deluxe edition of Endeavor Deep Sea. So you think of Orca Reintroduction or the Robotic Wanderer dock or the Underwave Academy. They call it a mini expansion if it's just any ocean tile that also has some extra components and like a mini rule book to go with it. So I think they're going to have a couple more of those, and then just additional regular ocean tiles, 4 more missions. So it's really just more of the same, but I'm really excited for that. And they're adding, crucially, the one thing that I really thought was lacking in the base game is just more setback cards and bonus goals, because I saw most of those at least every time I played, because when you play solo you use half the bonus goals and 2/3 of the setbacks. So they're adding a huge deck with those, and then a couple of cards that it looks like you can, maybe they're different difficulties. And so it tells you how to set it up, right? Do you want to play like easier or medium or hard? How challenging do you want it to be? Draw this many setback goals or setbacks and bonus goals of these levels. And then that's how you kind of assemble your deck. So I think that's great. So I've got that on order, but it's not slated to deliver until October of 26. I think they left themselves like a lot of runway, but also I think they're still early in development. They got a lot of play testing to do. So hopefully that'll deliver a little earlier than they expect, but they left themselves enough runway for a reason, so who knows. And then things that I don't have on order but will, sometime this month, Stonemaier Games will be releasing Vantage, and I am going to pick that up as soon as they release it. I know they're going to have it at GenCon, but I don't want to risk not getting it, because sometimes they sell out pretty quickly on those sorts of things. So as soon as they release it in July, sometime this month, I'm going to pick it up. I've already got the metal coins. I bought those. They had some sort of promotion or something last year. So I went ahead and bought them in anticipation of getting the game later. So that's going to be a super cool game. Looking forward to it. I think I'll play it on the channel again. It's in that gray area where some things are like kind of spoilery. So maybe it's the sort of thing that some people will want to watch and some won't. But I think I'd like to get it to the channel because it seems really cool. And then the other thing that I have not ordered yet, but definitely will later this year, is the Voidfall expansion. I believe that's slated to hit crowdfunding, I don't know, in the 3rd or 4th quarter sometime this year. And when that happens, I am definitely ordering everything that they've got to offer. So no surprises there, I don't think. Also, I want to call out real quick. So I've about a year ago, I joined a local gaming group, and it's a very small group. This one guy runs that out of his house, and it's usually 3 to 5 people, and he has a couple game nights a week. So I make it there maybe twice a month. So we play a lot of cool stuff, a lot of heavy games. We played Voidfall several times. I love that. But I thought I'd just call out some of the games that were new to me that I've gotten to play through that group this year. So these are games that I don't own, but I've at least got some experience playing now. So we played On Mars and Weather Machine. So I've played a couple of Lacerda games now. I've played them each once. I think I'm playing On Mars again next week. I really liked On Mars. Shockingly, I won the first time I played that one. That was cool. I don't know what the solo mode is like, but I could see picking up that game at some point because it was really good. I've played Brass Birmingham a couple times now, and I don't think network building games are really for me, but I enjoyed it. It was still a good game. It's not one that I'm going to buy, but I would play it again. We've played Doom Imperium a couple times now. Is Dune Imperium Uprising with Bloodlines both times. And both times I came in second place. Then the second time, it was just a couple days ago. The second time I tied with somebody for 13 points at the end, and then they had just all the spice in the world. So I lost the tiebreaker. But that was super fun. Obviously, I could see picking that one up because I've got a goal to try and raise some money to be able to make a whole series out of it. So, and if we don't hit the fundraising goal, it'll be on my, list of stuff that I might buy someday. I don't know, but Dune Imperium, really good. Enjoyed that. And then I played Tricarion as well through that group. So I always figured that there was going to be a 10th anniversary edition of Tricarion coming out at some point this year. And I just planned on buying it because I like Mind Clash games so much. But now I've actually gotten to play it, and it was super cool. So now I'm that much more excited to receive it. So those are some things I've got on order, or I'm looking to order in the immediate future. And while we're kind of on that topic, let's talk about like Kickstarters and GameFound and crowdfunding in general, and publishers and me and games. So I talked a little bit earlier about how I do turn down publishers when they offer me stuff to cover on this channel because I only want to cover things that I truly think that I'll enjoy. And hey, sometimes it's a miss and I don't love it, but I usually at least like it. And I'll always give you my honest opinion as I go through it. But a few people have asked about sending stuff to me, either games or upgrades, components, whatever. And I super, super appreciate that. But it's probably not a door that I want to open up. But what I will ask is, if you see stuff on crowdfunding, go ahead and leave some comments, Kickstarter, GameFound, whatever it is the crowdfunding is, for the publisher. Like, hey, send a copy to Table for One, like link them to the channel. If that's something that is something that you guys can do to help get games that you're interested in on the channel. So if you would like me to do some sort of preview, ask the publishers for it. Some of them have found my channel, but some have not. So, I think there's actually a lot of power in that. So if there's enough people asking, I think that they will do it. So it's at least worth a shot. And, if they get in touch with me and I look at the game, I'm like, no, this is not a game for me. I'm going to hate this. Then I don't do it. But I think if you're watching this channel, you probably enjoy a lot of the same types of games that I do. So most things that you're looking at are probably a pretty decent fit, but I can't go out and buy everything, And I think there is value for the publishers to getting their games on channels where their potential consumers are looking. So I'm not like fishing for anything in particular, but that is something you can do if you see a game. Chances are I have not been offered a copy, and I'm pretty okay with that. I don't need to go down this road. I'm really not looking to do reviews. I don't really do reviews on this channel, but I'm always willing to do a quick tutorial and then a playthrough and then kind of give you my thoughts afterwards pretty informally. So if you want to send publishers my way, that is fine. And so now let's get back to my man, Jose. I want to talk a little bit about kids games. So it sounds like our kids are sort of in the same age range, and I'd been trying without success to get Candyland going, and they like to just take out the little figures and just play with them and not really do anything, not really interact with the board or draw any cards or do anything. But I found a couple games that have been pretty successful. So the first I want to show you is First Orchard by Haba. I think they have another game called Orchard, and this one's simpler. It's called First Orchard. So it is very simple, but the components are super nice. They're giant wooden components, bright colors. So we've got some fruit and a bird, big wooden bird here, and this giant chunky die. It's huge. And the game is, I would say, start with this one because there's a couple of reasons, and it's been really successful in my house. So one, it's a fully co-op game. So one of the things I like about that is that it's not you playing against your kid. So it's not like, hey, dad won and kid lost, because that's not super fun for the kid, but you're playing together. So really the theme behind the game is you're trying to collect all this fruit and get it in your basket before the bird comes and eats it all. And there is zero skill involved because you just roll this die, and whatever color comes up, you grab one of those fruit and put it in your basket, and then you pass it to the next player. If you roll the basket, it's a wild. You grab one of any fruit you want, and if you roll the bird, it advances down this little path. There's 5 spaces on this path, and if it gets to the end of the path, it eats whatever fruit is left in the orchard, and the bird wins. So that's it. It's just completely random. But you go back and forth, and so it teaches some things like taking turns, moving one space down a path, even the concept of a die. So hey, you roll this, the top face is the one that we look at. We ignore the ones on the side. What color is this one? Okay, put this in the basket. So this has worked really well. I think my kids really like the bird to win though, because every time we roll the bird, we throw our hands up in the air and we go, "Oh no, the bird!" And I think they think that that's fun. But it also helps that it's a co-op game, so we either win together, like, "Hey, we won," and then we can talk about that, or the bird wins and we lose, and we can talk about, "Hey, it's okay. We still had fun playing. Would you like to play again? Maybe we'll win another time. It's okay if we don't win every time." So this one's been a hit. The kids really like it, even if they root for the bird. So then, for Father's Day a couple weeks ago, I received another Haba game. So this is Go Go Little Penguin. I wouldn't start with this one. I'd start with First Orchard. But this one's got some good things going on. So it's got a game board, which you assemble as a puzzle. It's just 6 giant pieces. And there is a path on it. We'll just put a couple pieces together. These tokens are totally unnecessary, but there's some fish at the end. And basically, there's 3 sets of penguins, orange, blue, and green. So here's the blue one, and each one has a big one and a little one. And you roll a die. Where is it? Show the die. And so it's got 1 to 3 little penguin feet, and then 1 to 3 big penguin feet. And so whatever you roll, all right, let's say you roll 3 little ones. The little one could advance on its own, but the big one, when you roll it, it advances, and if it ever catches up to the little one, then they move together. So like the big one helps it along. So narratively, you can use it to tell a story. Mommy or daddy penguin is helping the little one, but the little one is trying to go on their own. You say, "Go, go, little penguin." And when they both get to the end, then that pair has won. They've made it to the end. They eat their fish picnic, whatever it is that, that penguins do. But so this one is competitive now. So you're playing against each other, but it gives you a little bit different way to talk about winning and losing. It's a short path. Each path is 10 spaces. So I guess I'm mostly assembling it here, but so 10 spaces down this path. So it's not a super long game. Again, it's random. There's no skill involved. But now, instead of just looking at a color on the top face, you're looking and counting, and you're identifying, are these the small marks or are these the big marks? And what does that mean? So it's like slightly higher complexity, like you have to roll the die and then figure something out. And now it's a longer path where we may be moving multiple spaces at a time on the path. So it just teaches some board gaming skills that I think we probably tend to take for granted, like how a path works or how a die works, right? And then, again, this one is competitive. So now it's like either you're winning or the kid is winning. And I like that it's not a skill-based game. So, this is not something where you got to like struggle with that, like how hard should I play? You can have that debate whether or not it's good to let the kid win. I'm not going to get into that here, but this one, you just roll a die and you do what it says, and basically you're going to win half the time and the kid's going to win half the time, and that's fine. We played a 3-player game the other day. It was me, my kid, and his stuffed animal. So he played for the stuffed animal too. He got to play 2 of the tracks. I got 1. The stuffed animal won. So that's how good we are at this game. So those are a couple recommendations for kids. The one other game that I picked up was Hungry Hungry Hippos. I bought a used copy of that because frankly it's just kind of loud and crazy and over pretty quick, and sometimes kids need that too. So I keep that one in a cabinet where it's maybe not as visually obvious. And then these 2 Haba games, Go Go Little Penguin and First Orchard, I keep lower where small hands can reach them. So those get taken out a little bit more often. But if you got little kids, those are some suggestions from me. There's a whole line of these Haba games, so you can check out others as well. But certainly I would recommend those 2. I've had good experience with them, and we've actually got a friend with young kids as well. They've got a birthday coming up, and I think we bought a copy of each of these same 2 games, Go Go Little Penguin and First Orchard, and that's what we're giving the kid for their birthday. So that is my recommendation there. But I think that is finally what I've got for this video. So that is my channel update mid-year 2025. If you want to talk about anything channel related, let me know in the comments. And if you like the channel, please do what you can to encourage others to check it out. You can always share my videos. You know, when your friend leaves the room, grab their phone for a second, just log into YouTube and subscribe to the channel for me. That's just fine. I'm sure they'll thank you for it later. But always the comments are appreciated. The likes are appreciated. I do look at the likes. I don't know if it affects the algorithm at all. I have no idea, but I do look at that as some sort of indication for, okay, what videos are people enjoying and what videos are people not? And sometimes I use that as a way to make decisions for, hey, what should I try and get a playthrough on the channel? You know, last time this game did really well. Nobody really seemed to like this particular game. So I do use that information. So it is useful. If there's something you like, make sure to click the like button. And then let's see if we can get a Dune Imperium series going. So head over to my Coffee page. The link is in the description of this video, just as it is in all of my videos. I would love to do that Dune Imperium giveaway. I think that would be awesome for the channel. That would just be cool. I've never done something like that. So let's see if we can make that happen. But that is it for this time on Table for One. Can't thank you enough for making it to this point. Let's see where the next 6 months takes us. I hope it's awesome and that we have a lot of fun together. So thank you very much for watching Table for One. I will see you next time.